Hello there. So there you have it. You do the right thing and work hard, but now other people are going to be getting the breaks, and you're paying. Now, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe. Click the little bell, select all, and then like and comment below. It seems that Tory ministers are relearning big lessons. People work for money, and they don't like paying too much tax. Or at least they don't like being stung for tax when others might pay less tax for doing the same job. But right now, Rishi Sunak's government is really giving us the worst of both worlds. They are so desperate to put the UK economy on an even keel that they're taxing the workers until the pips squeak. Yet at the same time, they're coming out with plans to coax the recently retired or those who've recently become economically inactive back into the workplace with tax breaks. Not only that, if someone on sickness benefits finds a job, they could well end up keeping those benefits and getting paid too. The message for the rest of you is, you're footing the bill. And many will just think, why do I bother? Now, when you read that we've got 9 million economically inactive people in the country, as well as a rise from 600,000 people on disability benefits in the early 1990s up to the current 2.2 million today, you have to ask the question that ministers are asking. Does the benefit system now perversely incentivise people to do all they can to prove they are too ill to work? Now, there are people who deserve those benefits and rely on them, but do these numbers really stack up to it being a safety net, especially with all those jobs going spare at the moment? And what about this nonsense of getting people over 50 who weren't looking for work, possibly they've retired early, back into the workplace by cutting or scrapping income tax for them for a year? How would all their tax-burdened future workmates feel about that one? They might be older than them. Now, the main thing underpinning society should be fairness. How is any of this fair to those at work right now? And the main things underpinning work should be that working always pays more than benefits and that the tax system does not impoverish you. But those lessons have been forgotten, or worse, trashed, by Sunak and Hunt. But now they are relearning those lessons via the back door. Benefits claimants going back to work under these plans would definitely be getting more money for working because they'd be keeping the benefits and the wages. And those over 50s not paying income tax would not be taxed into penury. But in both cases, the people they work alongside would be footing the bill. Can't we just have some joined-up thinking here? Get tax down and make work pay. Or all you do is end up with more over 50s retiring early to get a tax-free job and more people going sick hoping to get benefits and a wage down the line. Or are the Tories going to pull the usual political trick of making the rules and regs on this so complex and burdensome that no one bothers? Either way, I can't see much good coming from all of this. Now here's an interesting question we've received on our answer phone service. It comes from Lee.
Hello, Jeff. My question is, why do no public figures at all whatsoever on any channel, media or news ever want to engage in a discussion about the World Economic Forum and its influence over politics and decision making, and when it's clearly happening? Thank you. My name's Lee.
Well asked. It does seem that some of our establishment betters have decided that democracy is a bit tedious and that it would be far easier just to get instructions from those wonderful people who attend the World Economic Forum. The people that come up with all the answers to our problems and then talk directly to our politicians without bothering themselves with the democratic process. And those like the WEF are very aware that if we vote one bunch of weak politicians out, then the next lot we elect will be turning up at the next WEF events to take their instructions. Or so it seems. Well, more probably than seems. And there should be a lot more scrutiny by the mainstream press on all of this. But as the press generally agrees with just about everything that comes from the mouth of Klaus Schwab and his mates, then I'm not sure they want us realising where some, or a fair chunk, of the power that is exercised over us comes from. With "don't question, just obey" being the instruction. Another one is of course the Bilderberg meetings, and unlike most other large affairs, we have no idea where the next meeting is, when it is, who's going, or what they'll discuss until just before the event itself. You'd think they had something to hide. But I bet the 2023 event is already penciled into the diaries of some of our politicians. Oh, and don't forget the Tony Blair Institute boasting about inserting its activists into governments around the world, and the Gates Foundation. And it's organisations like this pushing the likes of net zero, the 15-minute neighbourhood, and getting the Western world to eat bugs for breakfast. And then getting our politicians to do the dirty work for them. And as far as I can see, our politicians just don't want to admit to the connection and the influence that the likes of the WEF have over them. They would just be admitting that they have no control, and that we, therefore, have no democratic control over the future of our own affairs. We are being dictated to, and when you see what we vote for, and then what actually happens, you can see why they shy away from it. The only way out is to vote for completely new parties and fresh politicians who will clear the establishment politicians, lords and civil servants out. Now don't forget to leave us your question on 07999 297 611 and we might play it out and answer it on the show. And now let's talk about a certain MP who has fallen foul of drawing attention to a certain topic that our betters obviously don't want us to concern ourselves with, for some reason, as well as the subject of clickbait. Over to you, Richard.
Thank you, Jeff, and good evening, everybody. So, a certain MP has been, well, he's been cancelled, I suppose. He's had the whip withdrawn because he compared one thing to another, or rather he shared a tweet and quoted somebody who compared one thing to another. And the comparison in this day and age is not a wise one to make because you will be cancelled for drawing such comparisons. Yes, it was a matter of time though anyway until this specific MP had the whip withdrawn and was silenced because he has criticised that which no member of the government should ever criticise, and that is the government's response and mandating of something to do with the a tissue we all fall down. Yes, that's right, you know what I speak of. Now okay, there's a few journalists and a few of us out there who will speak up on these matters, but we have to be very careful, and especially on a certain platform. Yeah, in fact most platforms. There we go. But we have not to worry though, because we do have confidence in our unelected Prime Minister. Yes, we have full confidence in you, Mr. Sunak, yes. And you're going to fix the NHS, thank you. I keep seeing you in, Mr. Sunak, on, what's it called, Prime Minister's Questions, yes. And you're always saying, but we're putting forward this amount of money. We're giving 100 million here, 1 billion there, 100 million there. It doesn't mean anything, you. For goodness sake, these figures are meaningless if you can't get to see a doctor. It winds me up. Completely pointless. Anyway, let's move on. So, I did say yesterday about journalist of the day. And today I've got two journalists who have stuck out. And the first one is Laura Parkin from the Daily Mail. Well done, Laura. This is a great article. I'll read the headline to you. Life is far too short, Jessie Nelson says. She is embracing her little chubby belly as she jokes about Simon Cowell's high-waisted trousers. Oh, wonderful. I don't know how I could have survived the day without knowing about this. And I would rather drink my own urine than continue to read this out to you. Okay, so that's the first one. Well done, Laura Parkin. Great piece of work. Actually, I'm not being nasty to Laura. I'm sure you're a lovely girl, but you've got to make a living somehow, but yeah. Okay, next up is John King from The Express. I'll give you the headline. Loved up Zara and Mike Tyndall living the dream life in new romantic holiday pictures. Oh, wonderful. Utterly wonderful. How enriching. Come on. Come on, John. I'm sure you're a great lad. Sorry, I assumed your gender there. Sorry, John. But I'm sure you are a lad. If you're not, then I'm sorry, I assumed your gender. See, this is the world we live in. Welcome to the nonsense of the 21st century. I can't live like this. How can anybody live like this? We need to break free. There's a song in there somewhere. I think Queen did it once. Yeah. Anyway, look, you lot, take care. Look around you, look at the world. I'm sorry, I have to keep giving you context for news because that is paramount. Jeff does the best job in the world. There's nobody out there like him for breaking down the news stories with in-depth analysis, going right behind the scenes. Me, I'm something different. I'm a bit of a counterbalance there because we think that you guys need a bit of both. So there we are. So you've got the rational and you got me. Anyway, you take care. Lots of love to you all. And listen, it's a horrible, cruel world out there. But we have each other, and we do. God bless you. Bye now.
Thank you, Richard. And finally, when subscribing, please don't forget to press that little bell and also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. And thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the show.